Well, because, Alex, Washington never changes. And the same people who have been running things for 30 years like the status quo. The status quo works.
In fact, didn't they say Bay of Pigs was really to set up Kennedy and make him look bad?
Yeah, I mean, look, the CIA has a track record that is unenviable when it comes to truth-telling. They lied about torture in Iraq. They lied about Benghazi. They lied about Iran-Contra. They lied about Vietnam. They lied about the Kennedy assassination. That's what they do. They lie.
And that's why Brennan was so arrogant, outgoing, is they're going to Bay of Pigs the president trying to protect the country because they're allied with the GD Islamicists.
Meanwhile, Alex, the Priebus co-option of the Trump campaign or the Trump movement, I predict will come next in a series of fights over high-profile ambassadorships. Now, as you know, these ambassadorships have always had a political tint. Almost every president has appointed a major donor of theirs to the Class A embassies. So, for example, Nixon appointed Walter Annenberg, a media executive, a major donor to Richard Nixon, to the Court of St. James, the British ambassadorship. It was revealed this week in an incredible piece by Pamela Geller that Priebus is pushing a man by the name of Duke Buchan III, a Bush supporter, a Jeb Bush supporter, who only later comes to the fight in the general election, gives Trump $900,000. That $900,000 is reported on the Federal Election Commission sites and very briefly on Open Secrets, but then suddenly disappears. Mr. Buchan has a long history of federal investigations in the regulatory area. He has conflicts of interest pertaining to his participation in federal contracts. And last but not least, Mr. Buchan's partner in a hedge fund business is a high-ranking official in the Chinese Communist Party.
Whoa. So here's the bottom line. Trump's counting on his captains to bring him good people. He's good. But here's the second part of the story. I've seen him do this before. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're going to put bad people in, get the money, Trump won't know, and then burn him saying he broke his promises. Remember Gingrich saying, don't worry, he's not going to drain the swamp. Don't worry, he's going to hire lobbyists. He's got a lifetime ban on him. So Trump's trying to deliver, but they're going to sabotage him, get the money for it, and then blame him.
Well, and the important thing to understand here is that Mr. Priebus is interested in rewarding the party donors as opposed to rewarding the Reagan donors. And
or the Trump donors.
Pardon me, the Trump donors. I misspoke.
It's the same story, though.
It really is, quite sadly. Also, Alex, I wanted to mention to you that for some reason, despite the phenomenal launch of The Making of the President 2016, how Donald Trump orchestrated a revolution, which is doing extremely well, was #1 on Amazon this week in new releases. Barnes & Noble refuses to post any reviews of the book, period.
By the way, the book is available, The Making of the President 2016, discounted already 20%, $19.95, InfoWarsStore.com. For a limited time, all of them will be signed by Roger Stone and myself. InfoWarsStore.com. I have them in stock. It is already #1 on Amazon.com. #1 on Amazon.com for political book, already in the top 20 total, but they don't care. You heard it. Barnes & Noble won't even list it, and it gets worse. We're going to come back briefly and talk about this, Roger. The Joe Rogan podcast has been delisted from YouTube, even though it has millions of views, and iTunes was trying to delist it as well because we talked about Podesta and we talked about Wiener and the child porn charges. What do you make of this censorship?
It is unbelievable, Alex. I'm just reading this here. It's extraordinary that the ongoing effort to silence us just doesn't stop. And when I read that David Brock is in conversations with the government as to which websites to block as fake news, I shake my head.
Yeah, I'm asking, how is David Brock, when Trump's in now, still deciding that you can't see InfoWars or you can't see your book? I mean, again, because Trump's surrounded by a bunch of scum. Let's just say it. Washington's a swamp. He can't even get personnel that aren't backstabbing pieces of crap.